Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the April 2nd, 2022 stupendously special edition of The Breast There Is, The Breast There Was, and The Breast There Ever Will Be Wrestling Podcast. As always, I am your host, Mikey B. WWE, and I refer to tonight's podcast as stupendous because I'm giving the predictions for the two-night wrestling spectacular Wrestlemania, which is since the pandemic began, they've been doing as two nights, which I don't wholly agree with, but that's how Vince McMahon wants it. So and stupendous is also the word that they use, so I thought I'd just throw that in there just for fun. Over the course of the two nights of WrestleMania, there are 14 matches listed. I am going to begin, since it is Saturday, I'm going to begin with all of the predictions so far for the 7 matches listed on Saturday's card, as well as then I'll follow that up, of course, with the predictions for Sunday's event. In addition to the 7 matches tonight, there's also the KO show, which will be Stone Cold Steve Austin confronting Kevin Owens, so I'm sure that'll be explosive. But anyways, let's get to the predictions for the 7 matches for WrestleMania Saturday so far here at WrestleMania 38. So the first match is a tag team match with King Woods and Kofi Kingston taking on the tag team of Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Big E is noticeably absent here because Big E suffered a really serious neck injury at the hands of Ridge Holland. So I'm pretty sure this one is going to be WWE making it up to the New Day by giving them a victory here. I see they're not calling themselves the New Day according to WWE.com's website, but either way, King Woods and Kofi Kingston, we'll call this a Big E victory for them over Sheamus and Ridge Holland, because I'm sure Ridge Holland himself, the actual performer, I'm sure feels really awful for injuring Big E. But nevertheless, I do feel it would make the most sense for King Woods and Kofi Kingston to prevail in Big E's absence. So King Woods and Kofi Kingston is my prediction for the first match over Sheamus and Ridge Holland. The second match on the card is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, and it's the Tag Team Champions, the Usos, taking on Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. This is a tough one because the Usos, kind of like their cousin Roman Reigns, have held these titles for quite a while. Not as long as Roman Reigns has held the Universal Championship, of course, but these guys have been holding it for a while, and I think it has truly strengthened the faction that Roman Reigns, the whole bloodline thing with the tribe, with the Usos. So it does make me a little bit reluctant to bet against the Usos. But that's exactly what I'm going to do, because Shinsuke Nakamura and particularly Rick Boogs, these guys have been an awesome team together. Rick Boogs generates a lot of excitement when he does his promos and when he wrestles in the ring, and I think it's just time for a change. I do think this will be a program that will continue. I don't think the Usos would, for instance, lose the belts tonight and then just disappear. I think there's going to be a feud with Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, but I do feel that it's time for a little bit of a change, even if the belts will change hands a few times in the coming months. But so all of that said, Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs are my selection to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships tonight. The third match on the card is a singles match, Drew McIntyre taking on Happy Corbin. For a long time leading up to this match, I thought Happy Corbin would have the help of his buddy Madcap Moss, and that would ensure a victory over Drew McIntyre. However, in recent weeks, we've seen that there's been a little bit of a disconnect between Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss, and I think there will be some confusion with the two of them tonight, and Drew McIntyre will ultimately benefit and be successful in winning. Drew McIntyre, a little bit about him 2 years ago at WrestleMania when the pandemic just began. He won, the main event of the whole event by defeating Brock Lesnar for a WWE Championship. I think it was WWE Championship. It was either that or the Universal Championship. I guess it doesn't matter now because either of those are considered top titles. But that was supposed to be a huge moment for him, and it was, but it was in an empty, the WWE, their center where they were holding all the wrestling when there was no live events going on. So it was definitely not the same for Drew McIntyre to be victorious in such a special moment in front of people versus when he was by himself in the training center. So, and last year Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania was defeated. He wasn't able to win. So I think just how the storyline's going with this one, I'm selecting Drew McIntyre to be victorious over Happy Corbin. The next one on the card is a very intriguing potential match here. We have Seth Rollins is going to face an opponent of Mr. McMahon's choosing on WrestleMania Saturday. So this, of course, a lot of people are speculating about who his opponent's going to be. News did surface. This is not officially related to WWE, but news did surface in the last couple months about how Cody Rhodes, who's Dusty Rhodes' son, who started his professional career with WWE, left for many years and joined rival promotion AEW, and was a fixture in in so much of the main event scene there for years. So no one knows for sure, besides the guys like Mr. McMahon and Tony Khan, the CEO of AEW, and Cody Rhodes himself. But it's been very tightly secured, secretive about where Cody Rhodes is, what he's going to do with his wrestling future. And you can imagine that if he's coming back to WWE, what better way to reintroduce him than either on WrestleMania or the week following WrestleMania. But because there doesn't seem like any other very obvious choice, I do think it will likely wind up being Cody Rhodes. But even if it isn't, just for prediction purposes, I am going to say that whoever Mr. McMahon's going to be choosing against Seth Rollins, that's who I'm betting on to win this match. So though I'm expecting it to be Cody Rhodes, it very well could be someone else that people haven't been thinking about. But even so, I think that person is going to defeat Seth Rollins tonight. So Mr. McMahon's mystery opponent for Seth Rollins is who I picked to win that match. The fifth match on the card is a tag team match. Rey and Dominic Mysterio are taking on The Miz and Logan Paul. I would say, I haven't done any research on this, but I would say that anytime a celebrity has gotten involved in WWE's WrestleMania event, that celebrity usually fares very well. They usually win their match or whatever. They always look good. So I do expect that The Miz and Logan Paul are going to be victorious over Rey and Dominic Mysterio here. Because I would be very, very surprised if Logan Paul would even agree to do this unless he was promised that he would be victorious at WrestleMania. So for those reasons alone, that's why I'm choosing The Miz and Logan Paul to defeat the Mysterios. The next thing listed, unless it's not the match, but it's the KO show, and Stone Cold and Kevin Owens, they're going to be confronting each other. This is the WrestleMania is taking place in Texas, so Stone Cold's his home turf. So there's going to be a raucous environment for Stone Cold. I don't really know what's going to happen besides they're just going to both do some promos and it'll end with some, probably Kevin Owens trying to stun Stone Cold, but Stone Cold winds up stunning him at least once, maybe a few times, and then does his beer swilling celebration like he did in the past. So that's not a match, not written there, so I don't really need to give a prediction, but even so, I still think that's how it's going to play out. The final two matches on WrestleMania Saturday night are both of the Women's Championship match. First, we have the Raw Women's Championship with champion Becky Lynch taking on Bianca Belair. And Becky Lynch, she snagged the title off of Bianca Belair in a surprise return at SummerSlam. And has held on to the belt for a long time since then. So that's quite a while. And I think Bianca Belair is due to win the title back tonight. So Bianca Belair is my pick to win the Raw Women's Championship. And then in the main event, it's for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It is the champion Charlotte Flair taking on Ronda Rousey. Similar to what I said before about how I suppose it's not quite the same, but with Logan Paul's involvement in this match, I know Ronda Rousey, she's going to be participating more than just WrestleMania, but I also don't see her making her sort of major in-ring pay-per-view return and losing to Charlotte Flair. This is one of these matches that I feel will be a part of a feud for sure. This is not just going to end after one match only with these two. But I do think Ronda Rousey will be victorious tonight and setting up many months of a feud with these two ongoing. So there you have it for WrestleMania Saturday night. That's the list of the 7 matches plus the KO show special feature. Now moving on to WrestleMania Sunday, day 2 of WrestleMania. I remember back when WrestleMania in the earlier days when they could actually do 14 matches on a card and it was still about a 3-hour show and not requiring 2 different days. So I miss those days. I'd say the overall entertainment was a bit better. So that's just me lamenting the fact that there's 2 nights of pay-per-view here for this event now. But I digress. Moving along here, let's start with the first match on WrestleMania Sunday. It is Bobby Lashley taking on Omos. I think this is a battle of 2 behemoths, 2 really big, tough guys. I think Bobby Lashley is going to win controversially with the help of MVP. That's really just it. Omos has been on a tear since him and AJ Styles have split. But even so, that's how it's going to be a controversial finish. That's the only way I think that they can get out of this. And this will also probably be a feud that continues on. But even so, I still think Bobby Lashley will win with the assistance of MVP over Omos tonight. So Bobby Lashley is my pick. Second match on WrestleMania Sunday's card is former NFL player and now current SmackDown commentator Pat McAfee taking on Austin Theory. Austin Theory is a young, promising star who Vince McMahon clearly favors. He's going to win, not a guy who's not a normal wrestler. So Austin Theory doesn't need to be much, of a review for this one. Austin Theory is going to win, and that is that. The third match of the night is for the Women's Tag Team Championship in a Fatal 4-Way match. We have champions Queen Zelina and Carmella taking on the teams of Sasha Banks and Naomi, taking on the team of Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and also versus Natalya and Shayna Baszler. I just think Sasha Banks and Naomi are going to win this, mainly because it's been a little while since Sasha Banks has held the title, and she's even though I'd probably favor the teams of Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler generally. I think this is going to go to the Sasha Banks. I think is the most popular of all of these performers, according to WWE in their social media and everything. So Sasha Banks and Naomi, I think, are going to win the women's tag team belts on Sunday in the Fatal 4-Way. The fourth match is for the Raw Tag Team Championship match, and it's a team of RK Bro taking on the Street Profits, taking on the Alpha Academy. So it's a triple threat match. I think the Street Profits are due. All 3 teams are very capable and very solid. I think, though, Street Profits, it will be their turn to get the belts back. And I also will add that I believe Alpha Academy, their inclusion in this match was done so that the Street Profits could win the belts back without actually pinning RK Bro, because I think it's kind of a cheap way to give someone a boost without diminishing someone else. So in this case, it's 2 teams, so this will give the Street Profits a boost with winning the belt. But the fact that RK Bro likely won't be the team that loses in this particular scenario means that it doesn't look poorly on them. So Street Profits are my pick to win the Raw Tag Team Championships. The next match is another celebrity-styled match. We got Johnny Knoxville from Jackass taking on Sami Zayn in an anything goes match. So when it's anything goes, that Johnny Knoxville is going to involve his other jackasses there to help him win, and there's no chance that Johnny Knoxville is going to lose. So Johnny Knoxville will beat Sami Zayn. The next match is a match that has the potential to steal the show, both shows, since this is a 2-night thing, which is one Hall of Famer taking on a future Hall of Famer, Edge versus AJ Styles. Both these guys are amazing. Both these guys are two of the best wrestlers ever. Despite the fact that they're both older now, I still think they're going to be able to deliver an amazing match. And it left a bitter taste in my mouth last WrestleMania after Edge returned to the Rumble. And, no, I'm sorry. I'm confusing the years. He returned originally to WWE in the Royal Rumble of 2020, but still last year, and then he got injured. And then last year he was in the main event, triple threat match against Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. And at the time, I predicted Edge to win that triple threat because I thought it was just the right thing to do after his incredible comeback story. But clearly, McMahon had other plans, which was to, make Roman Reigns the dominant force that he is. But either way, back to Edge and AJ Styles. Even though they're both so great on paper and they're both such excellent in-ring workers, this one's a bit of a Mikey B WWE personalized pick. I just think I want to see Edge beat AJ Styles. I didn't like that Edge missed out last year's WrestleMania when he should have had another awesome moment. But so Edge will be my pick over AJ Styles in this, which will likely be the show stealer match. And then finally, the main event of WrestleMania Sunday. And one thing I really love about this is that it's a titled unification match. We have WWE Champion Brock Lesnar taking on Universal Champion Roman Reigns in a winner-take-all championship unification match. And WWE is billing this as the biggest WrestleMania match of all time, which is a horrible ploy to try and get more viewership. And I also think it's a bit insulting to all the great WrestleMania performances of the past to preemptively give a name like this to a main event, especially one that we've already seen at WrestleMania before. So I don't care for any of those things, and I also there's no chance, I'm going to say this even before the event happens, there's no chance that this match is going to be better than some of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. And I was in person for one of them, Hulk Hogan versus The Rock at WrestleMania 18. I can't read the future, but I'm sure that anyone who would watch either of those matches, just as an example, there's no way people will pick the Brock Lesnar-Roman Reigns match over it. But back to the match, I do think it will be hopefully good. And I do think that even though for a while, with this being the obvious build-up to the WrestleMania main event, I was thinking Brock Lesnar would get the belt back, but I don't see this happening. I don't see him winning both because he's still kind of a part-time guy. He's not a full-time performer, doesn't really seem to care that much about being champ. So, and meanwhile, you can see that the company is really putting a lot behind Roman Reigns and his championship run. So, pardon me, I do think that Roman Reigns is going to win this big match and have both titles. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this, since they're going to unify both belts. Hopefully they keep that for a long time, because I do think that having two top titles, be it two top men's titles or two top women's titles, is stupid, and there's no need for this. And it's confusing and muddles the picture, because really, if you're talking about the top position, there should be only one, not shared. So I like that they're unifying this belt. I think that's a smart move that the company's doing. So we'll see how this all plays out. So there you go, folks. As a quick recap on all my victors for both nights, I will go through them again quickly. We got King Woods and Kofi Kingston prevailing. We got Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs winning the SmackDown belts. I got Drew McIntyre. I got Mr. McMahon's opponent of Seth Rollins to be victorious. I have The Miz and Logan Paul. I have Bianca Belair winning the Raw Women's Championship, Ronda Rousey winning the SmackDown Women's Championship, and then WrestleMania today, I have Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory, the team of Sasha Banks and Naomi winning the Women's Tag Team belts. I have the Street Profits winning the Raw Tag Team belts, Johnny Knoxville, Edge, and Roman Reigns. Thank you very much for listening. I hope WrestleMania, being in 2 nights, is not going to be very boring. Hopefully it'll be exciting and there will be some twists and turns and it will make it memorable. So thanks very much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel below if you enjoyed what you heard. Thanks for listening and see you next time.